So we'll start with so this is a Flask, right? So what you can do is you can develop web applications. So for developing web applications, using Python, okay, yes, old link is changed. Old link is changed. Okay. So for developing now Flask is this link. You have to join with this link. Flask, you have to join with this link. Okay. Correct. So for developing web applications using Python, so there are okay, you find various frameworks. Okay. So for developing web application using Python, there are various frameworks. Okay. And these frameworks, okay, classified classified into two categories. Okay, these frameworks are classified into two categories. So one is called as a full stack framework. One is called as a full stack framework, and second one is called as a micro frameworks. Okay, micro frameworks. There are two types of frameworks are there. One is called as a full stack web frameworks, and one more is called as a micro frameworks. So when you're talking about full stack frameworks, when I'm talking about full stack frameworks, okay, full stack frameworks provides, okay, all the tools, all the tools it will provide. And there is only one full stack framework. And what is that here? Design. So which you have learned already. Okay. And there is one more is a micro framework. Micro framework. And micro framework doesn't provides doesn't provide all the tools. So what is the meaning of all the tools here? Okay, it will provide an admin, it will provide a security, it will provide a session, it will provide middlewares, okay, middleware, it will provide ORM, it will provide testing. Everything comes with the full stack framework. But when it comes to the micro framework, everything doesn't comes with the micro framework. Okay, here micro framework means micro means small, right? So micro framework doesn't provide all the tools. It provides only limited number of tools. Limited number of tools. So it means if you want to develop a very big enterprise application, then you go for which one? Django. Okay. If your application is very big, then you can go for what? Design. Suppose your application is not a big, your application is very small. For example, if you take, suppose when you're working with a data science or AI, when you're working with AI, okay, artificial intelligence. So you communicate with the model and get the response. and generate the output. So for that, I don't require to develop application using which one? Django. I can simply use which frameworks, micro frameworks, because there I don't require any very big resources. Okay. So in that case, I don't require to go for which one? Django. I can just use which framework here? Flask. Okay. So because what is my application requirement is, okay, sending a request to the backend, and that backend communicate with the model and get the response and present it. Get the response and what is that? Present it. For that, I don't require to have all the tools. I don't require to have all the tools. Then I can just go for which framework? Micro framework. I can just go for which one? Micro framework. Okay. Yes. I said I'll tell you. I said I'll tell you. I didn't say it on Monday. I said I'll tell you along with the flask. Huh? I said I'll tell you, yeah. When I said I'll tell you, I'll tell you. But I said I'll tell you when you are working with a project with Git. Okay, I mean Flask project, I'll try to tell you using this. Okay, okay, right? So micro framework doesn't provide all the tools. It provides only limited number of tools. Limited number of tools means it will provide a server, inbuilt server. It provides inbuilt server for testing purpose, inbuilt web server, and it will provide template engine. It will provide a template engine. Okay, and it will provide a template engine. It will provide a REST API. So that's all, but it doesn't provide admin. It doesn't provide a session tools. It doesn't provide middlewares. It doesn't provide which one? ORM. So all these things are not provided. I'd said them, okay, you have a resound of this. Okay, resound of fans. Uh, so fans का sound ज्यादा है. So क्या हो रहा? You cannot able to listen. Okay, so you have to reduce. Reduce बोले तो if you want you can join here. Okay, if you want to attend you can attend. If you want to attend you can attend. Okay, yes. You need to know only Python. Palace sound చూడు ఎట్లా వస్తుంది. బంద్ చేసే ఫైన్ మొత్తం. నేను వాయిస్ నా వాయిస్ వస్తలేదు వాళ్ళకి. कम करो बोलो. తక్కువ చేయి. So, okay. So micro framework, I say no, micro framework doesn't provide all the tools. Micro framework doesn't provide all the tools. It provides only the limited number of tools. Like what are the limited number of tools? It will provide web server. Okay. It will provide a template engine. It will provide what REST API. So by using which you can develop a web applications as well as web APIs. Now only limited number of tools it will provide. Okay. Like Django, it will comes with all the things. Like it will come with admin, security, sessions, middleware, ORM testing, inbuilt web server. All this comes with what? Django. You don't require to install anything separately. You don't require to install anything separately. But when you are working with a Flask, everything doesn't comes with what? Flask. It is a macro framework. Macro framework means I say no, it is having only limited number of resources and it is flexible. It is a flexible means when you require you install certain tools and work with it. When you require a database, install database related tools. When you require middleware, you install the middleware related things. When you require a security, then install security related things. When you required, then only use it. Then only you install it. Otherwise, you don't require to install. That is called as which framework? Micro framework. Getting on that. So there are some micro frameworks provided by Python. So there is a micro framework called which one? Flask. And there is a micro framework called Fast API. And there is a micro framework called Pyramid. Pyramid. So there is a correct. So there is a micro framework called Pyramid. And you have a lot of micro frameworks. I've written only three. So these are Python micro frameworks. So there are number of are there, but I've written only some of them. Flask, Fast API. Okay, you can see Bottle, Cherry Pie, Falcon, Quad. All these are called as which frameworks? Micro framework. So you can write here. There is a framework called Bottle, and there is a framework called Cherry Pie. Okay, so all these are called micro frameworks. And just now I said what is the meaning of micro framework here? Okay. So Python micro frameworks are lightweight web frameworks that provides only essential tools. Okay, that provide essential tools for routing and request handling. Leaving decisions like database integration and authentication to the developers. All these are not provided by which one? Micro frameworks. If you are working with any of this framework, okay, it doesn't provide most of the things. Okay, right. So why we are using a Flask? We are using a Flask for developing which applications? Web application. Like the way how you are developing web application using Django, in the same way you are developing web application using Flask. I'm telling most of the AI people, those are working on AI, they require a front end. They required a front end, right? So how they develop a front end using HTML, how they develop a back end by using what? Flash. Because they don't require all the resources. They require only limited resources. They use either Flash, they use either faster API. Getting on it because they don't require any authentication. They don't require any database because their role is only communicating with the models and getting the response and generating the output. So those kind of things you can do it by using which framework? Micro framework. Suppose if you take an example of ChatGPT is there. Okay, ChatGPT. If you see ChatGPT here, okay, now this is a front end. This is a front end or not? Yes. What you see in the browser is called front end. And here you write a prompt. Here you write a prompt. Something you write. What is Python? Okay. This is a prompt. And when you click on or when you press enter, what will happen? When you press enter, what will happen? This is a request. Okay. This is a prompt. Prompt is what here? Request. And this request is sent to what? Backend. This request is sent to what? Backend. And backend, some application is there or not? Yes. So what is that application? Is web application, right? So what is that application? It can be either Flask. This application might be written in what? Flask. What it is doing, it is getting the prompt. It is getting the prompt and sending to which application? Backend. And this backend communicate with the models. It communicate with what? AI models. AI models. It is communicate with the AI models. And AI model generate the output. And that output is given to which one? Class. And it will render that into template and given to whom? Client. That's all. But is it doing any authentication, authorization, session management, any other things are done? No, nothing is done here. If you want authentication, see here, you have a login. Okay, there is a login. So you can include authentication as a Flask, as a separate module inside what? Flask. Authentication module you can add separately into what? Flask. Correct or not? But it doesn't comes with all the tools. It doesn't comes with all the tools, right? So Flask is a micro framework. Okay, Flask. What is a Flask? So what is a Flask is? Flask is a micro framework. Flask is a micro framework. Flask is a micro framework. Okay, used to develop. Used to develop which application? Web applications. Web applications or what is that? Websites. Web applications or websites. Okay. Yes. Mujibul Rahman. Mujibul Rahman, you are currently doing NumPy and Pandas. We don't know other language for Flask. Python still running, not completed. Okay. Python, which topic is running? Functions. Very good. You know HTML. You know HTML. Okay, then you are not eligible. Okay. You are not eligible here. You are not eligible. If you don't know HTML, you cannot do it. Okay. Yes. And you are in functions and you are learning NumPy pandas. See, the person is in functions, is learning NumPy pandas. Don't know CSV files, don't know JSON files, nothing. Huh? And people are learning. What is the use? Any use is there? No, no use. Huh? No use here. Huh? You are in functions and is learning NumPy pandas. Yes, NumPy is started. Yeah. After after starting pandas, you'll be knowing it. Don't worry. Okay. So anyway, no problem. So that is what I want to tell you is for learning a Flask, what is the prerequisite is you should know what HTML, should know functions, classes in Python. If you know this, you can attend the class. If you don't know this, you cannot attend the class. Okay. Yeah, we'll start one by one. We are starting, right? Uh, so Flask is a micro framework and use it to develop web applications or websites. Okay. And Flask is developed by, we are starting all the things one by one. We are starting all the things one by one here. Okay. So Flask is developed by Armin Rocher. Okay, what is the name of this person is Armin Rocher, and the current version of Flask is 3.x and 3.x, and this is compatible to okay Python 3.x. This is compatible to what here Python 3.x. And what is the advantage of using Flask? What is the advantage of using Flask? Okay, what is the advantage of using Flask? The advantage of using a Flask is it is simple or easy. Okay, what is the advantage of using a Flask? It is simple or what? Easy. Now, Flask is easy to learn. Flask is easy to learn Flask is easy to learn compared to which application? Django. For example, if you are working with a Django, okay, you have a URL configuration or URL routing. Or when you're talking about this, suppose if you are working with a Django force you to organize the code according to certain rules and regulations. It means it will force you to write the views in this module. It will force you to write the models in this module. It will force you to write everything in a specific program. Okay, if I'm not following that rules, now Django doesn't recognize. Suppose if you want to define the URLs, where you define the URLs in urls.py. If you want to write the views, you have to write views in which module? Views.py. Okay. And if you want to develop a database, you write in which one? Models.py. And you have to install the applications in settings.py. So there is a lot of configurations you find in what? Django. But when it comes to the Flask, you don't have all those things. You don't have all those things. You don't have all those things. You do as a part of application only. You do everything as a part of which one? Application only. So Flask is easy to learn compared to which one? Django. Okay, there is no lot of okay, it doesn't force the developer to implement okay to implement okay it doesn't force the developer to implement code according to the rules. It doesn't force. Okay, it is programmers friendly. I mean, wherever you want to write the code, you can write the code. It means it doesn't have any particular structure. It doesn't follow any structure. I mean, if you talk about Django project, so Django project contain a package, and within the project you have to create what? Application. And within the application you find some 4 to 5 modules. In the project also you find some 4 to 5 modules. Okay, so it doesn't have a specific project structure. Okay, the project structure is created by whom? Programmer only. The project structure is defined by whom? Programmer only. So it doesn't have a predefined project structure. Means the way how you want to organize, you can organize the code by following your own rules and regulations. It means it is programmers friendly. It is programmers friendly either when you are comparing to which one? Django. Okay, Django. So that is simple or what is that? Easy. So compared to which framework here? Django framework. Okay, suppose if you want to develop a Flask application, what do you have to do? Suppose assume that if you want to develop a Django project, first what do you need to do? You have to create a project. First, what you have to do? You have to create a project. Project you have to create first, and within the project you have to create application. It means this is a structure which is followed by whom? Django. So compulsory I have to create a project like this. Compulsory I have to create a project like this. But when it comes to the Flask, it doesn't have a project structure. You don't create a project. You don't create a project. What do you create? Applications. You don't create a project, you create what? Application. Here, you create a project, and within the project, you build a number of application. Means if your web application is very big, if your web application is very big, then you try to organize within the project by dividing into number of applications. But when it comes to the Flask, every project is one application only. It means there is no project, there is only application. There is no project, there is only application. This application is like a standalone program only. How you write an application in Flask? You write an application in Flask like the way how you are writing a Python program. How you write it, the way how you are writing a Python program. You write a program. Now this program is called as which one? Application. This program is called as which one? Application. So it means you don't have a views, you don't have a models, you don't have different programs. You write everything inside what? One program only. You can write everything inside one program because you are not developing a very big applications. You are developing only small applications by using what? Flash. Okay. So this is one thing which you have to remember. First one is simple or easy. Okay. And not only that, it is a flexible. It means flexible means developer is having full control on the application. Developer is having full control on what? Application. You can control the application, but when it comes to the Django, it is controlled by whom? Django only. When it comes to the Flash, it is controlled by whom? Programmer. So the programmer or developer having full control, okay, full control on the application. Full control on which one here? Application. Okay, this is first one, that is simple, or what is it? Easy. And next one is inbuilt server. Advantage is nothing but features. What is the advantage is? Features or facilities. Okay. It is having an inbuilt web server, inbuilt web server. So with Flask inbuilt web server, or Flask provides or Flask provided a web server for deploying and testing, which application? Web application. Flask provided a web server for developing or deploying and testing. For deploying and testing. Deploying is nothing but installing. Okay, deploying is nothing but installing and testing what your web application, because you develop a web application. After developing a web application, what you have to do? You have to test it. So how you test it? By installing in the server. So there are two types of servers you find. One is, okay, development server, and one more is production server. One is a development server and one more is a production server. Development server is used for testing and production server is used for hosting. Means after developing your web application, you need to install your web application into which server? Production server. You have to host it. I mean, that should be available to all the people. So you have to host in a web server, I mean, production server or not? Yes. So it means it is provided inbuilt web server for deployment as well as testing web application. And next one is it is provided URL routing system. It is provided URL routing system. URL routing. URL is nothing but uniform resource location. I mean, URLs are very important to access which resources? Server side resources. URLs are very important to access which resources? Server side resources. But if you want to do URL mapping in Django, there is a separate file is used. And what is a separate file is urls.py. There is one separate file is used. What is the name of the file is urls.py. urls.py. You are using urls.py for URL configuration. So after developing any application or after developing a view, suppose in Django, after developing a view, how you access this view? You access this view by using a public name. And what is that public name is called URL pattern. And where you are defining the URLs in a separate module called urls.py. In a separate module called urls.py. But when it comes to the Flask URL routing, it is more easier. Because whenever you develop any view or application, any view, whenever you develop any view in your application, you route or you configure the URL routing by using which one? Decorators. You configure it as a part of which one? Application only. You configure it as a part of which one? Application only. You don't require to create a separate file. You don't require to create a separate file for URL mapping. So as a developer, URL routing is what? Easy. As a developer, URL routing is what? Easy. You don't require to maintain a separate. Okay, when you are writing a view, for this view, you define the URL as a part of which one? View only. You don't require to write in a separate file. So URL routing, URL mapping, URL mapping is a process of accessing, okay, accessing which one? Server side resource, server side resource by whom? Client. Server side resource by what? Client. Is nothing but giving a public name to the server side program that you call it as URL mapping. Is nothing but giving, okay, giving public name to server side program. Giving public name to server side program is called which one? URL mapping. Because you are writing a server side program, and how you access that server side program? You access that server side program by using some public names, and that public names you call it as what? URLs. That public names are called as what? URLs. But when it comes to when you compare with the Django, URL routing is easy. Compared to Django, URL routing is simple. There is no separate file. There is no separate file for managing which one? URLs. That is what I'm telling you, know. If the application is very big, if the application is there is no, so there is no separate file for mapping URLs. If the project is very big, then go for Django. If the project is very small, suppose you are developing to-do app, you are developing a blocks, okay, then in that case, I don't require to go for what? Django. I can just go for which application? Flash. Getting on or so that is based on the type of project, that is based on the type of application you choose, whether should go for a full stack framework, whether should go for which one? Micro frameworks. That is based on the application and project length. That is based on the application and what? Project length. So based on that you choose it. Okay. So it is a simple or easy, okay, an inbuilt web server, and there is a URL routing, and it is also provided what do you call it as REST API. So Flask comes with REST API, Fast API, REST, Flask API or REST API, by using which by using which developers developers can build developers can build which one? Web APIs. API is nothing but application programming, Application programming what? Interface. API is nothing but application programming interface. Means you develop certain APIs to communicate one application with what? Another application. Communicate one application with what? Another application. Right? And not only that, it is provided inbuilt template engine. It is provided inbuilt what? Template engine. Template engine. What is a template is? HTML. What is a template is? HTML. But is it a static or dynamic? Dynamic. Template is nothing but an HTML only, but it is not static. It is what? Dynamic. Is it template is a client side program or server side? Server side. Template is executed by server and output is given to whom? Client. Template is executed at server and output is given to client. So there is a rendering is done at server side and there is a rendering is done at what? Client side. After generating the output, all these HTML tags are rendered by whom? Browser. And all the template tags are rendered by whom? Server. And to render this template tags, you required one program at server side. And what is that program is called? Template engine. So Flask comes with inbuilt template engine, which will try to process which one? Template. Template is nothing but HTML page, right? So okay, Flask comes with inbuilt template engine, called Jinja 2. Even Django also follows the same rules. Jinja 2 rules. Jinja 2. This is nothing but name of the engine used by which one? Flask. And the name of the engine even used by Django. Because all these frameworks follows the same rules and regulations. All these frameworks will follow the same rules and regulations. It is the name of the engine which will try to render templates written at which side? Server side. Telling or not? Okay, but it doesn't provide. See here, it provide only this, nothing more on this. See here, what is the advantage of Flask? Simple or easy. And second one is inbuilt server. It is provide URL routing system. It is provided REST API and it provided template engine. But is it having any other tools? No. No middlewares, no security. There is no session management, session content management. So nothing ORM, nothing is provided by which one? Flask. Nothing is provided by Flask. Okay, na? So this is the advantage of using which one? Flask. So if the application is very small, then go for this. Okay. Then now that is what I've written. The current version of Flask is how much it is? 3.0. I've written here 3.0, which is compatible to Python 3.x. Then what are the basic steps? What are the basic steps for developing which application? Flask application. Okay. So what are the basic steps? Now, whenever you talk about web application in Django, you use one architecture called MVT. That is model, view, template. So model is responsible to communicate with the database and view is responsible for input and output and template is responsible for presentation. This is a presentation logic, business logic and database logic. Okay, presentation logic is written in what? Template. And here template is nothing but HTML and view is responsible to take the input and generating output by communicating with the database using what? Model and generate the output by using which one? Template. Even Flask also follows the same architecture and what is the name of the architecture is MVT. But here you don't have a separate modules called view model like that. It is flexible. I said no, everything you can combine in one program. You can separate into number of programs. If you want to communicate with the database, you have to install separately which one? ORM. ORM doesn't comes with what? Plus. ORM doesn't comes with what? Plus. Authentication doesn't comes with what? Plus. Forms will not comes with what? Plus. Getting on. Django forms are there. Django authentication is there. Django ORM is there. Is it all this comes with the Flasko? No. You have to install separately. Getting or not? Okay. So Flask application, Flask application is developed using which architecture? MVT architecture only. But it doesn't force you. It doesn't force you to write separately. It doesn't force you to write what? Separately. Like model is separate, view is separate, like that. No. You can combine the model as well as what? View. You can combine the model and what? View. Okay, serializers are there. Serializers you find as a part of which one? REST API. Until unless you're not working with a REST API, okay, doesn't require which one? Serializers. Okay. So Flask application is developed using which architecture? MVT architecture. So model view template architecture, but it doesn't force you to use MVT architecture, but you try to implement it by separating the database logic in model and request and response logic in view and presentation logic in what? Template. So what you have to do first, you have to install the Flask. Okay. Yes. Just see here. Open the VS Code. Create a folder first. So create a folder first. Okay. So inside this, you don't require to create any project folder. You can directly write it. But here I'm creating one project folder. And what is the name of the folder is project one. But if you want to create a project in Django, you are using what? Django admin. How you are creating a project using Django admin. And using Django admin command, you create what? Project. After creating a project, within that project, you create what? Application. But here, no. Who will create a project folder? Programmer only. Who will create a project folder? Programmer only. There's no command called Django admin like to create a project. Okay, you create a folder and inside this folder, you try to organize all the files. Inside the folder, you try to organize all the files. Okay, select the project folder. Select the project folder, but there is no command. There's no command to create a project. Remember this. You don't have any command to create what? Project. No command to create a project. Okay. Yes. Then what you do first is after this, go to the terminal. So first step is install. Install which one? Flask. How you install the Flask? People install Flask. Go to the command prompt and say people install Flask. Okay, now Flask is installed. If you want to verify, So install the Flask. So people install the Flask. Okay. After installing the Flask, if you want, you can verify the version. So how can you verify the version here? Python, -m is nothing but module, and Flask hyphen what here? Version. You can see Python version is 3.12 and Flask version is what? 3.1 and server version is what? 3.1. So what is the name of the server? Workzig. This is the name of the server which comes along with which one? Flask. Okay, right? Yes. -m is nothing but module. How can you find the version of any module is? Just type the command. What is the command you are typing? Python -m. And what is the name of the module? Flask version. Version that will return the current version which is installed in your system. And what is the current version of Flask is 3.1. This is a server version and this is a Python version. Okay. So once install the application, once install the Flask, second step is create a program, create a file, create a file. File means which one? Program. Create a Python program. So every Python program is one application. Every Python program is one application. Every Python program is one application. It is one application. You don't require to create application. You don't require to create application. If you are working with the Django, what is the first step? If you are working with the Django, what is the first step? Django admin start a project and project name. Project name, you write a project name. After creating a project, you'll say Python manage.py. You'll say start application and application name. So first you have to create a project and then you have to create application. But here are you created any project? Tell me, are you created any project? Are you created any project? Are you created any application? No, you are not created any project. You have not created any project. You have not created any what? Application. Not created project and not created application because every application is one program. Every application is one program. Because when it comes to the Django application, whenever you create a Django application, it will create some programs. Inbuilt programs. Inbuilt programs are not, yes. It means views.py. Then you have to write views only in views.py. Models.py. You have to write models in models.py. So it is provided some predefined programs, predefined files, and you have to organize the code only in that files. But when it comes to the Flask, no, there is no predefined structure. There's no predefined structure. Who create a structure? Programmer. Who create a structure? Programmer will create a structure. Okay, the structure is not created automatically. The structure is not created what? Automatically the structure is created by programmer. So every Python program is called one application, web application. Every Python program is called one web application. Now come to the VS Code. Okay, already opened. Now here I'm writing a program, create a project, and within the project I'm creating a program, new file. I'm writing here application one dot application one dot what? Py. Application one dot py. Application one dot py. Yes, online students. Online students. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay. So create an application, blank screen only. Black, not blank. Okay, when you create a program, now this is your program, and every Python program is called one application. Every Python program is called one application. Now here you import it from, okay, from Flask, okay, from Flask import. What is the name of the class is Flask. Okay, it is said not recognized, not installed here. Hmm. Where it is in 3.1. Yeah. Yeah, I said here flam. Yeah, no problem. Okay, 1 minute. We'll just import here. Import, what is the name of this is last. Okay, fine. Here also we'll do the same thing. Import Flask. No, it's not. Yeah, it's working. So imported, right? Okay. Yeah, no problem here. So here, now you can write here or you can write here, no problem. Okay, because it is an application. Anywhere you can write it. Import Flask asset. And first thing is you have to define where your application is. Huh? I imported module here, not class. Okay, right. So first step is, yeah, first step is import the library. Okay, first step is import the library. See here, I'm showing you here, and then we'll see in the VS Code from or import. Import from, okay, from Flask import. What is the name of the class for building Flask application is Flask. Here Flask is a module and Flask is what here? Class. Flask is a module and Flask is what here? Class. And if you want to build a Flask application, you have to use a data type called which one? Flask. Okay, the first step is import. Which class? Flask class. Okay. So Flask class is used, or Flask data type or class is used for building which application? Flask application. For building which application? Flask application. So first thing is you have to create the application. You have to create what? Application. I'm writing your application, any name. Any name you can give it. Any name you can give it. I'm writing your application equal to Flask. Application equal to what here? Flask. You are creating which application? Flask application. And where your application is? You are creating this application where? You are creating this application in this program. Which program? This program. This program. This program is current program. Current file or current program. This application is there in which program? Current program. How can you refer to the current module? By using one variable called underscore underscore name underscore 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 name underscore underscore. What is this? This is, it is an inbuilt variable. What is underscore underscore name is inbuilt variable that refers to which module? Current module. This will refer to which module? Current module. Underscore underscore name underscore underscore is an inbuilt variable, and this variable refers to which module? Current module. Suppose, assume that I am saving this program. I am saving this program with app1. Suppose, what is the name of my application? What is the name of this program is? app1. So what is underscore underscore name refers to? app1. What is underscore underscore name refers to? app1. Or name refers to the name of the module. Name refers to what? Name of the module. So who gives the name? Python runtime. Suppose every executable module is given one name. And what is the name is given? Main. What is the name is given? Main. If you import it, what is the name is given? Module name. If you import it, what is the name is given? Module name. If you are not importing it, what is the name is given? Main. See here. See here. Just see. What is underscore underscore name is? So print, okay, print underscore underscore name. It is a magic variable. It is which variable? Magic variable. Magic variable. It means this variable you are not creating it. This variable is already exists. Okay, if I run this program, you get the value of name. What is the value of name is? Main. So main is what? Module name. Every executable program is given one name. By whom? Python runtime. And what is the name is? Main. What is the name is? Main. Okay, it means where is your application is in? Where is your application is in? Your application is there in which module? Current module. And what is the current module refers to? What is the current module refers to? Main. What is the current module refers to? Main. If you are not importing it. If you are not importing it is what? Main. If you are importing it, then what is the name is? Application 1. If you are importing it, what is the name is? Application 1. If you are not importing it, what is the name is? Main. You are creating application as a part of which module? Current module. And how you refer the current module is by using underscore underscore name underscore underscore. It is an inbuilt variable available in which module? Built-ins module. What is the default module imported by any Python program? Built-ins. I think this is you learn in modules. If underscore underscore name equal to main, yes or no? So what is the name refers to? Current module. You should tell where your application is, where you want to create your application and in which module your application is, and that refer it by using underscore underscore name underscore underscore. Okay. And once this is done, next is what? You created application. Inside this application, what you have to create? Functions. You have to create what? Function. Function. You are creating a function which takes the input, process it, and generate output. So in Django, you call it as what? View. In Django, it is called as what? View. And here also you call it as view. But there is no separate term called which one? View. Getting or not? So you are writing a function. And what is the responsibility of this function? Take the input, process it, and generate the output. Take the input, process it, and generate the output. Where you are writing it? As a part of your application or separate module? As a part of your application. You are not writing in separate module. You are not writing in a separate module. You are writing as a part of which one? Application. Okay, suppose assume that this is my first application. Then I'm just giving what is that? Suppose home. Okay, I just give the name as what here? Home. But are you write any parameter? Are you write any parameter? Parameter. If you are writing a view in Django, if you are writing a view, every view required one required parameter or not? Yes. What is that required parameter? Request. Every view required what? Request. But here is it any parameter is there or not there? Not there. Message it is compulsory or optional? Optional. That is flexibility. That is what you mean by flexible. Programmers flexible. If you want to take the input, you write with a parameter. If you don't want to take the input, write without parameter. And what it is returning some response. It is returning some response saying, okay, return hello. Return hello. What is this? Flask. Return hello Flask. I said return hello Flask. But are you created HTTP response? Are you created HTTP response? No, you have not created HTTP response. You simply said return hello Flask. That's all. Hello Flask. Now this is my first function. And what this function is doing, it is generating some output. Assume that this is your view. What is the responsibility of view? Taking the input, processing it and generating output. So what is the name of my view? Home. And what is the output it is generating? Hello Flask. But this view must be given URL or not? Yes. How you are giving URL? By using application. Okay, application. You are giving application dot. What is the name of the decorator is route. What is the name of the decorator is route. Route is a decorator. Decorator is used to add extra functionality. You are adding one extra functionality. What is that extra functionality? You are defining URL mapping. Extra functionality to the existing function. Extra functionality to the existing function is done by using decorator. What is the name of the decorator is router. And how you want to access it? Just give the mapping. URL pattern. What is a URL pattern is? I'm just writing here. Okay. I'm just writing here slash. Means if I'm not giving any URL pattern, it will call directly which function? Home. It will directly call which function here? Home. Now what is my URL pattern is slash. If you want to give it, you want to give the URL pattern, give it. What is the name of this is? Hello. Getting or not? But I'm not giving anything. I'm just writing here what? Slash. Okay, then after that, you have to install this. What you have to do? You have to install this application within the server. You have to run the server or not? Yes. You have to run the server. If you want to run the server, you have to install the application within the server. Means you install application and run the server. You install the application and run server. Okay. How you install the application and run the server? By just writing application dot. What is that? Run. You are saying application dot what? Run. So application is referring to which application? Flask. And when it say run, what will happen? It will install this application within the server. Run means it doesn't run directly. Huh? So it will install the application. Run means it doesn't run. It install the application. If we give two functions, will it call both? If you give two functions, will it call both? Bolo here. If we give two functions, will it call both? Is asking one question. अबे दो views लिखे यार, दो को call कर सकते क्या? You call one or two? One. One by one you call it. You call one by one. How can you call two at a time here? Huh? Yes. So you are writing application dot run. You are writing application dot run. That's all. Okay. Sometimes here you may write a condition. If underscore underscore name equal to underscore underscore what? Main. If underscore underscore main name equal to underscore underscore what? Main application dot what? Run. What is this? Why this condition is? If you import this application, if you import this program or application into another program, it doesn't run. It doesn't run because the value of name will be changed to what? app1. When the value of name will be a main, or when the value of name will be a main, if you run the program as an executable program, if you run directly, if you run this module directly, what is the value of name will be? Main. If you run this program directly, the value of name will be what? Main. If you import this, suppose you import this module into another program. If you import this program into another program, when you import this program, when you import this program, then what is the value of name will be? The value of name will not be a main. The value of name will be what? Application 1. For example, you are writing a program in C. In C language, you write everything inside which function? Or in C language, everything you write inside which function? Main function. You write everything in which function? Main. Are you write any main function here? Are you write any main function here? No. Who will create a main? Python. Who create a main? Python. Whenever you run the program, what is the name is given? What is the name is given? Main. What is the value of name is given? Main. Means every executable program is given one name. And what is the name is? Main. Suppose you are not executing it. You are not executing this program. You are not executing this program. What you are doing? Importing this program. You are not executing this program. What you are doing? Importing this program. Then what is the name is given by the Python? Not main. What is the name is given by the Python? Not main. What is the name is given? What is the name is given? Program name. What is your program name? app1. What is your program name? app1. So value of name is a main when, or a value of name will be a main when, if you run the program. If you run the program, the value of name is what here? Main. If you don't run the program, if you don't run the program, if you import the program, then what is the value of name? Not main. What is the value of name? Not main. What is the value of name is? Application name or program name. What is your program name? App. So why you write this condition? Why you write this condition? Because if you import this program, you don't want this program should be executed in that program. If you don't want this program should be executed in that program, you write this condition. You import this program into another program. Suppose you import this program into another program and you don't want this program to be executed in what? That program. Then you write one condition. What is the name of that is? Name equal to what? Main. When you import it, what is the value of name? Not main. When you import it, what is the value of name is? Not main. What is the value of name is? Program name. When you run the program, what is the value of name is? Main. When you import the program, the value of name is not main. When you run the program, the value of name is what? Main. If you don't want this program to be executed in what? Another program. You don't want this program to be executed in what? Another program. When you are importing, then compulsory you have to write one condition. What is the condition is? If name equal to what? Main. So that this program or this application will not run in another application. You can use it, but you can use this application in another application, but you cannot run. If you don't write this, that application run and this application also run. I don't want to run that. Because of that, you write this condition. That is name equal to what here? Main. Understood? Right? So you have to understand this because sometimes in hacker rank, you find this kind of code. In hacker rank, you find this code, right? If underscore underscore name equal to main, okay, then you write the code. But what is the meaning of this? Okay, when you import it, inbuilt code, what is the meaning of this? Okay, don't execute this when you import in another program. Don't execute this when you import in another program. See here. I mean, this is what most of the students, okay, decorators, what is the use of decorators means, okay, they'll tell decorators are used for adding some extra functionality to the existing function without modifying it. Yes or no? So tell me, what are the real-time applications of decorators? Where decorators are used in real time? Where decorators are used in real time? Follow here. Tell me where decorators are used in real time? Where we have used some decorators, right? Authentication decorator. We have used one decorator called login required. Login required. We use that decorator or not? Yes. Login required is a decorator. Okay, until login is not done, that function is accessed or not accessed? Not accessed. It means the advantage of decorator is code reusability. Yes or no? You are developing one decorator, you are transforming one function into what? Another function. You are transforming one function into what? Another function. And the transformation is done with the help of which one? Decorators. Okay, done this. I'll explain this in detail. Name equal to main. Every point I'll explain in this program. You should know what is the meaning of Flask name. Okay, you should know what is the meaning of router. What is APP? Flask object. And this is having one method called which one? Router. Route is what? Decorator. And this is used for defining URL pattern. Okay. So what is the name of the function is home. And I'll explain this. Every point I'll explain. Run first. Run. Okay. Run the code. Now you can see server Flask app1 and debug mode is what? Off. If you want, you can on the debug mode. What is the advantage of on the debug mode? Here you write it. Debug. Debug equal to which one? True. If you say debug equal to true, whenever you do changes in the function, that changes will be done automatically. Applied what? Automatic. Now you can see server is started or not? Yes. Okay, then copy this URL. Copy this URL in the browser. Okay, copy this URL in the browser and slash. What is the server port number? 5000. What is the server port number of Django? 808000. Okay, run the code. Now you can see Staying time, better you should run from VS. So we'll run from VS, right? From here also you can run, but it is taking some time, right? Okay, stop this server. Any version you can install it. Any version you can install it. I'll explain all these points here, what you have written as a part of this. Now your server is running. Okay, your server is running on a specific port. So what is the port number is? Sorry, pi triple zero. So that is a port number. Okay. So this condition you have to give it. Okay. So you can run from here, send a request, and you can see what is the message is. Hello Flask. Okay, right. It's a simple, nothing you have to write it. Okay, but I'll try to tell you all these points. What is a Flask is, what is a name is, what is a route is, what is a function is, what is why this condition is, what is debug mode is. Okay, all this I'll try to explain. Not today, but we'll try to see tomorrow. But this is very easy. Easy, huh? No, yes sir. हाँ? क्या कर रहे कुछ भी नहीं कर रहे ना. In Django you have to do a lot of things. You have to create a view, project, Django admin, Python manage dot py start application. Lot of things are there, right? But here what we have done, only two steps. You created one folder. Inside that folder you added one application. Your application contain lot of views, and each view you call it as one function. Here everything is called as a function. So there are, that is what flexibility. This is called flexibility, but that is not flexible. Flexible means you have to follow some rules and regulations. But here we don't follow any rules and regulations. You create your own rules. The rules are already dictated. You have to follow those rules. But here you create your own rules and regulations. So tomorrow I'll tell you more about this. Today we'll stop it here, right? Upload the notes in the Telegram, because again I have to create one classroom. okay, Google Classroom, but I'll try to upload in the Telegram. And this is those who are new, older, no problem. This is my Telegram. You can join. Okay. This is my Telegram. You can join. Right. Okay. यहाँ तक समझ में आया? What is a yes or no? So what is a Flask?